Hello guys, Distorted Balfire, Absol Dark X here, and we are back at it again with another scary story here, and yeah, yeah. So, yeah, from the last video, I've read a scary riddle to you guys about, which is, if I can remember, that it's called Garbage House. It, yeah, Yeah, it is. It was called Garbage House, and this time this will be a scary story, and and instead of this story called Garbage Bag, instead of this story being called Garbage House, this time it is now. This time it's introducing garbage bags. which which is just a scary story, not a riddle. So this won't be a riddle, just a normal scary story. And in here it says about a crazed murderer who haunts the darkened streets and narrow alleys of the small town of Brownsburg. Okay. Well, that picture looks horrifying, to be honest. And also, FYI, I have to be quiet for my parents, for so that I don't have to wake. Mostly my mom. Yeah, yeah, but just to be very quiet, just so that I don't wake my parents. But it, but with all that aside, let's get on with this story. I just don't have anything else to say, but to get this over with, and yeah, yeah, and and also please, if you could, if you guys do me a favor, it would be appreciate if you guys would watch my videos, maybe like some of them, and maybe consider subscribe to my channel. I'm not I'm not like commanding you, like ordering you to do it. It's just I'm just wanting to. It's just I don't want my videos to just look dumb and not get any views. It's just I want to get more views. With all that to the side, with all that to the side, let's get on with the stories. And so this is Garbage Bags. Enjoy. The curtain rises on the theater of the abyss. One dark night, one dark night, a teenage Hispanic girl named Selena was out walking her dog. She chose a route that led her through a vast open area where there were dozens of old barns. The barns were only used for the town fair, which took place every year. For the rest of the year, they were just used and abandoned. She took off her dog's collar and let him run free around the buildings. After a while, Selena became worried when the dog did not respond to her calls. She went on. She went around each barn, searching for her pet dog, and finally found him sniffing enthusiastically at six large black garbage bags that were lined up against the wall. She was shocked by the foul odor that was emanating from the garbage bags and had to hold her nose. Her curiosity got the better of her and decided to investigate. Well, this chick's stupid. She wanted to find out what was causing the strong smell. Selena opened up the first garbage bag and jumped backwards in fright. Inside, she discovered the bloody corpse of a woman. The dead body was in an advanced state of decomposition and had been completely mutilated. Well, Celine, well, this Selena girl shouldn't have looked at that garbage bag in the first place. Anyways, shaken with fear, the girl ran back to her house and to call the police. A homicide detective was assigned to the case, and once he arrived, he was stunned by the horror and brutality of the crime scene. Each of the six large garbage bags contained the decomposing body of a different murder victim. All of them were female. He ordered Selena to not tell anyone about what she saw. He did not want to cause a public panic when people found out that there was a serial killer on the loose. However, Selena felt that the detective knew more about the crimes than he was prepared to admit. She threatened to call the newspapers to reveal everything to them unless the detective told her the whole story. Since the detective didn't want to inspire a climax of fear and paranoia among the local population, he gave in to her demands and reluctantly told her everything he knew. This is not the first time something like this has happened, said the detective gravely. The man who carried out these bloody murders lives way out in the woods. They call him the garbage bag man. We know where he is, but we've never been able to get our hands on him. There's only one person who has seen his face and lived to tell the story. He told her that 5 years before there was a young black teenager named Theo who lived with his mother and father on the edge of town, close to the woods. Theo would often take long walks in the forest because his house was right next to a path which led deep into the woods. One day, when he was out walking, he felt adventurous and decided to deviate from the path. He was, he made his way through the bush and the brambles, exploring the thick of the woods. After almost 2 hours of walking, he reached the edge of a small cliff. He didn't look too steep. It didn't look too steep, so he decided to try to climb down the side. However, halfway down, he stumbled and rolled down the embankment. He expect he expected to land with a thud, but instead he landed with a clank, picking himself up and dusting himself off. He realized that there was something metallic buried underneath the hill. He was standing on the roof of a camouflaged hut, buried within the moon. Suddenly, a man came running out and shouted, "What the hell are you doing here? Here, this here's private property." The man had long, wiry hair and a thick, dirty mustache. He was as big as a bear, and there was a very strong smell of alcohol on his clothes. His face was lined and scarred. The man looked shifty dangerous dangerous. Dale had a bad feeling about this individual and tried to leave, but the big man wouldn't let him. He told the teenager to stand near a tree and not to touch anything, and especially not to go near his shack. When the man took his rifle and walked down of a small path and disappeared in. When the man left, took his rifle and walked off down the small path and disappeared into the trees. Like most teenagers, Theo was a very curious person and couldn't help taking a peek inside the shack. When he opened the door, he peered outside. He peered inside. What he saw what looked like dried blood all over the floor. floor. Sitting on the table was a huge butcher knife, and at the far end of the room there was a freezer. Cautiously entering the shack, Theo walked over to the freezer and lifted the lid. His nose was immediately assailed by a horrific odor. The contents of the freezer were covered with a transparent plastic sheet. It was so dirty and covered with bloodstains that he couldn't see through it. With trembling fingers, he lifted the plastic and found the dead bodies of a woman and a young boy. They had both been badly mutilated. Theo, Theo fled. Theo fled toward the shack and ran for his life. She scrambled up the hill, never daring to look back, crashing through the dense trees and undergrowth. He finally managed to reach home. The terrified teenager called the police, and when they arrived, he tried to lead them back to the place where he had found the shack. However, However, he was unable to remember the route he had taken. We we tried we tried to get him to draw a picture of the garbage bag man's face, but it was no use, said the detective. Ever since then, has been confined to a mental home. He cracked under the stress of the situation and had a complete mental breakdown. He is treated by a psychiatrist and says he still has nightmares every night about what he saw in the shack. He believes that the garbage bag man will return someday to eliminate the only witness who ever saw his face. The garbage man still haunts the woods of Brownsburg and the surrounding region. For over 20 years, the police have been trying to track him down, but he always slips through their grasp. No one else has seen his face or stayed alive not long enough to identify him. Those who know the legend don't say too much for fear of attracting negative attention or drawing suspicion upon themselves. Whenever anyone in town sees a garbage bag lying in the street or in a dark alley, they stay well away because you never know. The garbage bag man could be lurking nearby, ready to pounce on anyone who is too curious. Dang, that's a pretty that's a pretty scary story. Which and the lesson, well, here's a lesson. Here's a lesson, kids. Never look up. Never ever wait. Never ever walk upon any garbage bags because you never know what lies because you never know what's inside, whether it could be horrific or for um or petrifying. Yeah, that's the lesson. Never walk up to any garbage bags. But but anyways, yeah, so but alright guys, so that was garbage bags. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next scary story or riddle or urban legend, etc. But overall, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll and thank you so much for that, and and I'll see you guys later. If bye. The the curtain falls on the theater of the abyss.